Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming, and also thank you for attending via Zoom. I do want to say this particular event was certainly not planned that way. Just to be very clear, right now, in this moment, in Syria, there's cultural heritage being destroyed. I don't know how our guest speaker will address this. He is mainly speaking on his own experience. I know this is becomes a highly contested issue. So I do want to remind all in the room and also via Zoom that we are civil in the engagement, that we listen. And I think Professor Maamoun Abdulkarim speaks about his experiences. You have seen the flyer. I don't need to go into all of these details. But what I do want to say, and I think that's the topic of today's meeting, he was, and I need to get this right because we worked so hard on getting it right. So Dr. Maamoun Abdulkarim is Professor and Vice Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences. In the past, he was the head of the History Tourism Department at the University of Sharia in 2024. He also was Director General of Antiquities and Museums of Syria between 2012 and 2017. As you may recall, the Syrian crisis or the Syrian conflict started in 2011. And I don't want to prefigure what our speaker has to say on his experiences. He is also independent expert for UNESCO since 2008. He is co-director of Missions of Northern Syria, focusing on ancient villages since 2000, and he is co-director of the Syrian British Mission in the Homs region in the central Syria from 2000 to 2006. I would like to welcome our speaker, and he knows the significance of this talk on this day. Thank you. You're welcome. Maamoun Abdulkarim, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Dr. Jens.
Yes.
You hear me? My voice is good?
I don't know if the transmission in the room is, but...
It's good?
Do you hear?
Yeah.
I can hear a little louder.
Yeah, I think we can hear you. There's some question about the acoustics maybe, but we can maybe fix this.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's as loud as it could be. So the floor is yours.
Yeah. The presentation is clear for you, Jens?
Can we do this?
No, we can't.
Maamoun, can you make a full screen so that we can see this better in the audience?
1 minute, please.
Well, if not, it is what it is.
It's good?
No, if you start showing the slides, or to, I don't know how to explain this. Presentation mode.
It's good?
We see your slide, but we see not the full screen with the slide. We see the slide with the other slides to the right of it. So it will be larger if you can go into presentation mode. Well, anyway,
maybe let's get started. That's doable. Thank you.
1 minute, please. 1 minute.
I think he's trying to fix it.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Wonderful. Now we see you too.
Good, good. Thank you very much, dear colleague, dear ladies, gentlemen. Thank you very much for this night to be invited with you in this moment. I would like, before to start my lecture, I would like to sincerely thank the Global Learning Center in Wichita, particularly my colleague, friend, Dr. Jens Kreinath, and his team for this generous invitation. It's my pleasure. I am very proud to be with you in this evening. Of course, I would like to tell you good evening, but for me in Dubai is early morning. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. We have some big difference between the timing between you and Dubai. This in this presentation, I would like to talk about some aspect of the Syrian heritage during the crisis. First of all, how I started, what's the condition of my work when I was started in summer 2012. Then I will present you some idea about the kind of damage for the cultural side, for the trafficking, for ideological destruction. And then I will present you some measure taken by our Director General of Antiquities and Museum. Finally, I will present you some idea how we protect cultural heritage religious for paganism, for Christian, for mosque, and also for Jewish synagogue. In summer 2012, it was really, this summer was one of the most violent summer we lived in Syria. After the explosion in the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense, the killing of Minister of the Defense and many big general in the Ministry of the Defense. In this moment, August 2012, Madame the Minister of the Cultural appealed me. He asked me, Professor Maamoun, I would like to make your nomination as Director General of the Antiquities and Museum. I asked her because we worked together. We worked together as head of departments before, during 3 years before, in Faculty of College of Art and Humanities, me as Director of the Department of Archaeology, her as Director of the French Literature. She became as the Minister of the Culture. He appealed me, Maamoun, we need action plan, emergency plan for the protection of the cultural heritage in Syria. To be honest, I refused it. I refused it because I hesitated to accept this position for 2 key reasons. First, I was convinced that under the current circumstances and conditions, a change in general director was not a good idea. I asked her, please, I think for my opinion, it's not the moment to change the director general, because new director general will face a lot of the challenges. Naturally, you should to keep the actual Director General of Antiquity and Museums. The second reason for me, I feel that it is not easy for me to work in the government associated with the former regime. In this period, the image of regime in the world became very bad. How I can have my autonomy as scientific, as professional. How I can make gathering all Syrians, despite of their opinion in politics, can, if it's possible to be professional, scientific. Madam Minister, she gave me, honestly, she gave me Maamoun, you can work as you like, as professional, as scientific, but please, we need action plan. Why? She insisted to make me as Director General of Antiquities and Museums, because previously I lived the experience of Iraqi war between 2000, 2004, and 2003 when Baghdad Museum attacked. In this moment, I was Director General. In parallel with my position as professor in Damascus University, I worked for 2 years as director of all the museums in Syria for museums affairs. I lived experience of Iraq in 2003. It's for this, Madam the Minister asked me, please, Maamoun, as you had this experience before, we need your experience for the Syria because we live actually in bad situation. Really, I felt a moral obligation to step forward and contribute something for this work as Director General without any, as volunteer, without any financial compensation. Just I accepted as professor to stay in Syria with my children, 2 small children, my wife, to stay in Syria, how I can convince all the Syrians in 2 parties, in opposition and loyalists, to be together. How we can protect what we can do as protection of the cultural heritage in this period. Do not repeat what happened in Baghdad. Because in Baghdad, it was a disaster, what happened in 2003. How we accept this, the experience of Baghdad to be repeated in Damascus National Museum or another museums. Really, it was hard situation. In beginning, some person, some friends look at me as crazy man. How you appeal to be professional, scientific in this hard situation? Because really, the separation, it was very deep between loyalist and opposition party. But I insisted to continue in my battle. I declared it is the battle to protect Syrian heritage, Syrian identity for all Syrians. I insisted to be in this position. I benefit also to have many thousand students already were my former student in archaeology department, distributed in all the Syria. I keep this connection with all these former students to help me through their families, their local communities, how we can convince all the people to be together. Because in this period, 5 years as Director General, we faced 3 big challenges. The first, a lot of the city, ancient city like Aleppo and Homs city became battlefield. This has resulted in massive destruction of many historical buildings, mainly due to the aerial bombardment. Because really, we leave it, this sad scene, we follow it, all this disaster scene published by all the televisions and all the media, etc. How a lot aerial bombardment happened in ancient city of Aleppo, Homs city, some area in Dar'a in south of the Syria, some citadel, because the big challenge, how we can protect Aleppo and Homs, etc. It's out of our capacity to stop the war. It is not our decision as cultural men, as a situation of the heritage. Just we continue to appeal all time to publish appeal all parties, please respect cultural heritage site, because each day we lose a lot part of our cultural heritage. Second challenge in this period, I remember in UNESCO conference in Amman 2013, February 2013 in Amman, UNESCO office of Amman hosted a big conference about the Syria. In this conference, I published through Associated Press and Reuters and conference. I published international appeal that our sites became violated and attacked by groups of mafia, because illegal excavation started in this period, started when the Syrian government became weak, and a lot of the groups of mafia entered in Syria in cooperation with some professional looters before, who worked before, and they used the poor men and ignorant people and as worker. They attacked a lot of the sites. It's for this I will present you some image of some key sites in Syria, how these sites became in bad situation and in disaster situation. In this period, we faced bombardment of ancient cities, illegal excavation, starting in 2014 when ISIS declared new state, Islamic State. In this period, extremism started to be attacked a lot of the cultural heritage sites like Palmyra. I think you follow it. You follow it, what happened in Palmyra through excavation and destruction. And I will present you some image, how vast area of the Syria became in disaster situation. It was really period we face it, because when we all time, I repeat, 2012, 2015. Why? Because in this period, the war became more violent, more extensive in all Syria, all geography. How in this geography you can find some safe places? Sometimes we personally, we lost all the hope how we can protect all these collections. But it was necessary to be strong, to guard the hope, to be scientific, to convince all the people, do not be implicated in the politics, to understand all the people. The war will finish. One day the war will finish. The regime will finish. Government change, but all the laws for the cultural heritage will be eternal for the Syrian identity. Please be united in this battle, because finally what we do is for all Syrian people. It is saving of our very important part of our identity. Fortunately, I founded a lot of cooperation with a lot of geography in Syria. Despite all this challenge, we achieved remarkable success between 2012 2017. During this critical period, we succeeded in transporting the majority of museum collections from various regions to Damascus, because we lost the hope. In the beginning, and between 2012 2015, my strategy was to hide all the collection in situ, in each area. But when Daesh declared state, attacked a lot of the areas, we lost the hope, Then, after the event of Palmyra, the collapse of Palmyra in the hand of the ISIS, we decided to transport all the object to Damascus. We prepared it all these boxes, transported to Damascus, and the new period of documentation with new photographs, etc., started in Damascus. It was a good idea because in 2015, it was decisive period for me to transport all things in Damascus because no area stayed safe in all the Syria. And what you look, Damascus, all the museums in Damascus, Aleppo, Deir ez-Zor, Palmyra, Hama, Homs, Deir Atiyeh, Dar'a in Sud, Suida in Sud, Quneitra in Sud, Tartus, and Latakia in Coast. All these museums stayed under control of our Director General of Antiquity and Museums. It was possible to make all the action plan and transport all things to Damascus. What not was possible for us, for 3 museums, Raqqa collapse became the capital of ISIS. Despite of this situation, we hid about 1,100 objects in secret room. 3 years, groups of ISIS don't find this secret room. It was excellent measure taken by our colleague in Raqqa. In Idlib collapse in the hand of the group's local army for opposition, good party of Idlib also saved some part. It is looted, but it was saved. Busra also some part, but the majority of object it is saved through the local community cooperation. The totality collection in the Museum of Ma'arat min Ammar for the mosaic in Idlib area, the totality of the object was saved in cooperation with the local community. It was good results. Of course, today when the war is finished, when we come back in the memory, we should to find how we live it. It was not possible to be Superman. It was all time we tried to save what we can do. I can give you the confirmation. More 95% of the collection in all the museums was saved in all the museums in Syria. Our vision, it was isolating the issue of antiquities and museum from the political agendas, since heritage is a common national responsibility, appeal to avoid and respect the archaeological site, protecting the holding of all museums and transferring them to the safe location in Damascus. We must work hand in hand with our local community members. Sometime, if the government not here, how you can protect? We have more 10,000 sites. It was not possible to make anything if the local community don't move. It's for this, we keep this good cooperation with local community and to try to save what we can save as cultural heritage sites, not museum. Museum was under control. But through this cooperation with local community, we saved thousands of sites anti-mafia, anti-looters. It is vital to speak on behalf of all Syrians about our rich heritage, as it has always been a source of unity for our people. All time we ask it, you should to be in this battle. It's your responsibility. It is not just the responsibility of our Director General. You should to share with us this responsibility, what we can do for the future generation. And also, it's for this, we continue to publish appeals all time. Don't stop anyway, for remind the people, Syrian people, please don't forget. Don't forget, your heritage is under risk. It was, of course, as I mentioned before, it was not easy for us to convince all these military parties to stop, because in the war, sometimes our power is very weak. But when we appeal the Syrian people through the local committee, the elite, sometime it was good idea to continue this appeal, and we arrived in good results. So this image, what you look, we published many thousand, hundreds, thousand, 10,000 of poster like this in all Syria by small word. Our past is our future. We should to protect this heritage, etc. Small words, beautiful words, and to convince all the people and all the Syrians, you should to be our partner in this battle. It is for this, as you see now, for the first challenge, it was clashes. Archaeological sites have been turned into battlefield, like Aleppo. More 150 historical buildings have been destroyed. Some part of ancient market of Souk of Aleppo, totality it's destroyed. Some part it is damaged, 50%, 60%, 30%. But it was when we visited Aleppo in the end of the war in December 2016, I found Aleppo in ancient city of Aleppo in war. It was like Varsovia in Second War and Berlin, etc. It was a disaster situation. It was very sad image what we assisted in this period. In 2013, UNESCO registered all Syrian cultural heritage, world heritage sites listed officially in the danger list in 2000 in UNESCO conference in Cambodia in 2013, and we follow it each day. Look this image before and after this part destroyed in Aleppo. Aleppo beside it's citadel. It's around of the citadel. Beautiful area for the tourism before. What happened? Some party it's destroyed totality. It was sad to follow this bad image. Sarai and sometimes the office of governor of Aleppo dated in end of the 19th century. Look this result of war. Example, ancient souk of Aleppo market, before it was tourism places very famous in the world. What happened? Good party of this market became like this. Fortunately, Aga Khan in 2017 started to restore some part of this in cooperation with the Treasury of Antiquity and Museums. They restored some party of this souk. Actually, we have some party of this souk already restored, but we have a lot work to do. Look this. It is in front of the citadel of Aleppo, in face of the entrance, official entrance of the citadel. This mosque from the Ayyubid period, Sultaniya, all this area destroyed, sometimes completely, sometime about 90%. How we can do in this area? What is the new plan? Really, we have a lot of challenge now between end of the 2016 until now, already about 7 years finished. But majority of this building no restored. Attacked again through the winter after winter, etc. For another reason, for natural reasons, the destruction continued. For another reasons, if the situation continue like this, really we will assist a new destruction in the future. Illegal excavation, I mentioned it before, how in 2013, groups of mafia, groups of looters, and between regional, Iraq, Turkey, and Lebanon, especially in cooperation with groups of professional looters in Syria, they started the illegal excavation in a lot of the sites, hundreds of the sites attack. And they benefit also to be a lot of the area became outside of the control of the government. More 80% of Syrian geography became outside of the Syrian control. It's for these ISIS, another groups, etc. These groups found a lot of the opportunity to start their attack onto our sites. They use it a lot of the times, bulldozers, big machine, and destroyed a lot of the archaeological levels, and try to have some treasures. Sometimes they don't find, but they already destroyed a big part of our cultural heritage in many more hundred. Of course, we have hundreds of the sites attacked, but among them, we had about more 50 very important, key important sites attacked, like Mari and Dura Oropos, Apame, and Tel Ash'ari, Sheikh Hamad, a lot of the sites attacked, and they use it also, the poor men, ignorant people, they used them as workers. And as the borders became open with Iraq and Turkey, sometimes with Lebanon, the trafficking became very easy. It's for this Syria assisted big disaster for cultural heritage destruction through the illegal excavation. You look what I would like to mention, it is two challenges go in parallel. In one hand, many sites attacked by war became battlefield. Second hand, illegal excavation. It was now we will assist third also. How you can control the situation. You are faced many kind of attacking, different groups, different cultural, different reasons. Like this, before the crisis, the phenomenon of the excavation existed, but in the night, small group. In the Syrian war, became day in day. Look, is this easily, quietly, he make his excavation, illegal excavation in Dar'a area. They destroyed a lot of the sites in this area. In this period, this area also, many sites in Dar'a, in north of Syria, in Apame in the north of the Syria. Many thousand like this excavation, illegal excavation happened in Apame. Really, what happened in Apame in 2014 when they published this image, it was something all the international community shocked by this image. How this site from Hellenistic Roman period attacked by this way, by participation of thousand people, use it as workers. Attack because Apame was in line war between opposition area and loyal government. Sometimes I don't like to accuse any party. The looter is looter. He is loyalist. He is from opposition area. For me, it is forbidden reason to identify. For me, he is looter. It is enough. It's for this side became victim of Syrian war. Really, we are sure the archaeological levels in Apame, we lost about the totality. Another site, one of the key sites in Syria, is Dura Oropos, excavated in 1922. We found in this city Hellenistic plan, epidemic plan of the city, very famous city, and we found it more about 16 temple and the more ancient synagogue founded in this city, transported to Damascus. I will present you in the final in the end of this presentation the image of this synagogue, Jewish synagogue, discovered in here in this area and transported in 1932, I think, between 32, 36 by French mandate, when Syria was under the mandate, French mandate. Look in this point, all this small point, it's illegal excavation. It's totally excavated by illegal excavation. Really, look, maybe here it's more clear. All this point, it's illegal excavation. What it was excavated in 1 century, I think through 3-4 years, 5 years in Dura Oropos, excavated more what happened in 1 century, because it was so much by using the bulldozer and handles of the peoples, don't respect the archaeological, not professional. They destroy it. They try to have if they have treasure or not. It is another image of destruction in this area. Beside of Dura Oropos in the same area, the famous sites Mari from 4th millennium BC, when we founded many palace and temple, more 16,000 tablet, cuneiform tablet, founded in this site, transported to National Museum of Deir ez-Zor. Fortunately, we transported also to Damascus, all the collection discovered here, but the site stay here. The site, it's attacked by savage ways, by the same groups of mafia. Started in 2013, and then 2014, 15, any local control of the military change, the groups stay the same because they find all times a compromise and to have the permission to continue their savage work. Mari also attacked its image of victim site in Syria like Apame, Dura Oropos, Tel Ash'ari, etc., because it's key sites. In Palmyra, we closed our Director General of Antiquities and Museum closed all the tombs. They found some get here and used this all method and enter in these tombs, try to loot many statue of Palmyrian from Palmyrian period. It's looted from this way. We presented some idea about the excavation, illegal excavation, and battlefield and destruction by the war clashes. Now we faced another challenge. It is destruction by extremism, like Daesh. Daesh will control it. Big party of east of the Syria, central and east of the Syria, including Palmyra. This image just before this is Temple of Baal, just before some days, 3 days before the occupation of Daesh. Daesh occupied it in 21 Mayo, 3 days after this image, occupied Palmyra. We assisted new period of new challenge, destruction by ideological reasons, started by Daesh. Already they started to destroy a lot of church, a lot of Islamic mausoleum, and now they started by destruction in Palmyra. This cella of Temple Baal, image I took in 2011, last visit for me when I visited in the beginning of the crisis, when I was director of the Department of Archaeology in Damascus University. I passed by here to go to my family in extreme north of the Syria. I stopped here. I took this image. Last souvenir for me in this Temple of Baal. Unfortunately, we lost all things by Daesh when they exploded this temple by savage method, by barbaric method. They destroyed completely Temple Baal, synagogue Temple Baal. The wall stayed all time, but here it is Sela. What stayed is just the gate, the gigant gate of Temple Baal stayed, but the Sela totally destroyed. I published it with my friend, the big architect, French architect, Jacques Signé, who restored Jarash in Jordan for 30 years ago. We published it last year, in last Mayo, in the Chicago Journal, Basur, new publication about the future of Temple Baal, how we can look for the future, what can be rehabilitated, what cannot be rehabilitated. I welcome you if you can read this article that give you good idea the big challenge facing this temple in the future. But for us, it is not acceptable to stay in a situation like this. We should do something, but to come back before ISIS, it's impossible. Historically, we lost something, but we can do something as a rehabilitation in this area. And all these details we presented in our article published last Mayo. Another temple, Baal Shamin, destroyed. What you see? Result, it's the same situation. We need international cooperation, under umbrella of UNESCO and cooperation with Director General of Antiquity and Museums, how we can do what can be possible to make as restoration, rehabilitation of these two temples, because it is too big challenge in Palmyra. Hopefully to have in the future, after collapse of the regime, I think we have new opportunity to make new cooperation. Maybe we can have the international expert come to Syria to have some help, etc. Maybe we Syrian colleagues and cooperation with international colleagues under umbrella of UNESCO and ICOMOS and ICROM, maybe we can present new idea about how we can restore these two temples. From area, Temple Baal Shamin became church in Byzantine period and now destroyed like this. Of course, despite the bad situation, disaster situation, what is good, the majority of blocks are in good situation, not all destroyed. We can use majority of these blocks to rebuild some party of ancient Sela of Temple Baal Shamin. Museum of Palmyra, just before occupation of Palmyra, it was possible to move 3 tracks, more 400 statues and figure and many hundreds of small objects, treasures, etc. We transported to Damascus, but good party also not was possible to move because sometime it was heavy because already Daesh entered in the city. When Daesh occupied half of the city of Palmyra, I ordered the colleagues to move the 3 tracks in the night of occupation. No time, no 1 hour stayed for us. Just the challenge was how we can move 3 big tracks through all this collection already prepared to move to Damascus through the desert. I never in my life can forget this bad night in my life, this day, when I ordered to move 3 tracks through the war, through the desert. Finally, 3 tracks arrived to Damascus. After the liberation, 10 months of occupation, we arrived to Palmyra. in the in the end of the March 2016, we arrived to Palmyra, and this image, we left all things in situ. I asked my colleague Yves Obelman from Paris to come to Syria directly. He came, a gentleman. He came directly to Syria. He did this 3D just to document for the future what happens, the reality of the situation, to keep for the future generation. And I asked my colleagues also to Polish team who worked in Syria for many years. Some Bartosz and Maurice, some colleagues from Polish mission, archaeological mission in Palmyra. They arrived also and joined us in this period. They stayed 2 months with us, and we documented, we collected all the detailed object destroyed, about 200 objects destroyed, and we prepared all in boxes and we transported to Damascus, because I insisted in this time to move all things. I lost all the hope. Fortunately, we did this work. Why? Because in the end of December 2016, Palmyra occupied again. When Palmyra occupied again, nothing stayed in Palmyra museums. It was a good idea. I give you the confirmation also. The absolute majority of collection of National Museum of Palmyra transported to Damascus, despite 200 objects damaged, but we save it. Like this, some damage, but a lot of things, object already restored. Look this, all this mosaic attacked because our colleagues, we transported all to Damascus. Our Polish colleague from the Polish mission worked 15 years. This man, the man who restored the Lion of Athena in 2005, 2007, in this period, he restored it again under control of the UNESCO. Some looting in museum, what happened in the Museum of Raqqa, Daesh, some idea. Fortunately, the collection in Museum of Raqqa, not very big collections, not like Deir ez-Zor, not like Aleppo, not like to Damascus. For an important collection also save it in a high secret room. Some objects looted from National Museum of what measure taken? We took a lot of the measures when we hide all the collections, but sometimes this big object, etc., and big statue, it was not possible to move all things from the gardens. We took these measures, like Aleppo, like another, anyway, in Damascus and Aleppo, we realized this measure of the protections. We used all the money for these measures through this period, before and after. This gate, it's from the National Museum of Damascus directly. This system by control of, like all the banks, very strong gate. We changed all this system quickly, before, after. It is glasses, but it is impossible to open this because all this, it is electronic system. This gate, it is the gate of the synagogue Jewish. Sometimes we protect, and also we presented design for the future. Do not lose the money. Very strong system installed, anti-any looters. If museum attack it in any way for small times, etc., already they cannot enter in them, because all this gate you cannot enter without electronical, like bank. You should use the electronical system. Aleppo became big project of protection happened in Aleppo also. museum of folkloric museum. It's from 18th century. When we heard that some theft in 2013 tried to enter in this museum, we transported all objects to National Museum of Aleppo. Then this museum attacked what you see. It is before, from 18th century. Half of this museum attacked by war. Image of object saved from Palmyra in last night before the occupation of ISIS, and majority absolute of the object, all object protected, and before we hide it in situ, then we transported all things to Damascus because it was last chance for us. In 2000, we initiated the relocation of museum collection from various locations, including Deir ez-Zor, Aleppo, Hamza. From Deir ez-Zor, 30,000 objects. From Aleppo, 24,000 objects. From Homs, 15,000, 5,000. Dar'a, totality, Qanita, totality, and Suida, all the small object transported, and the big mosaic hidden in situ, etc., etc. Many museums in Damascus, in Tartus, in Lataki, etc. About 90 of the artifacts already transported to Damascus, but the collection of the Tartus and Lataki, etc., stayed because the coast area stayed in safe situation. It's for this it was not possible. It was not necessary to transport from coast to Damascus. Last part of this, just to give you some idea, after the challenge we faced in illegal excavation and clashes, and also ideological reasons, and what measure we took to protect all the museums, and some image how we worked to save the diverse religious and cultural heritage, and in various areas. It is depend on. Town of Maalula, example for the Christians object. This town is very famous in Syria. Until now, the people spoke in Aramaic language. It's very famous, touristic, historical sites. We have a lot of church in this area. This area attacked by extremists, destroyed a lot of monastery, and also destroyed church, and burned a lot of the icon and a lot of the artifacts, etc. Like this destruction of the church Maalula beside of Damascus. Inside what happened, it was disaster of sister. Do not repeat and avoid what happened in Maalula. We appealed directly beside of Maalula. We have Yabrut city. Yabrut city also is famous by the presence of big church, and also about 100 very beautiful icons in their church. Directly, we contacted them. We asked them to transport all the icons to Damascus National Museums. Fortunately, the leader of this church accepted. They give us 2-3 months later, Yabrut attacked by clashes. Fortunately, what happened in Maalula don't happen it in Yabrut, and already all the collection like this icon arrived to Damascus. We restored it, we prepared it, and we documented, and then we resent to this church after the end of the war. It was beautiful cooperation with the church of Yabrut, and also already they received a lot of icon from Homs church in this church. It was beautiful. Look this, all this point. It was necessary to make so. We have excellent restorator for the icon. They restored it, they protected, and we documented for them. We documented and we new packing, etc. And what happened in Maalula not happened in Yabrut. Another kind of the protection museum, the mosaic of Tibet Imam, very gigant, beautiful and wonderful mosaic. It became at risk because we heard some information that the battlefield continued to be arrived to this area. Directly, I contacted the director of the museums in Hama, the central city reside of this museum. I asked them how we can do. Maybe we cannot make some things very scientific at international level. I asked them if you can put 1 meter of soil on this mosaic to protect anti-looter and anti-clashes. Fortunately, my colleagues were very quickly they realized this project, and we saved this mosaic. Some like this, we put about 1 meter of soil on the mosaic just to protect anti any damage, maybe by clashes, maybe by looters. What happened? Some weeks later, it's museum. It is realized by cooperation with Italian government. What happened? All attacked by aerial bombardment. All things destroyed, but the mosaic stayed in good situation, not attacked. It was good cooperation, what we have. And another kind, we have Temple of Metraios. It's a unique temple in Syria. Through the cooperation, like this, all this image became in the Byzantine period church, in cooperation with old men from the local community who this family lives beside of this site. In cooperation with this family, we protected this painting anti-looters. It was also a model of cooperation with local community. Museum of Ma'arat Na'man collapsed in the hand of the group's army. But since my arrival to DJM, when I arrived to DJM, Director General of Antiquity, already we lost this museum. In cooperation with the local community and our colleague from the opposition area, continued to make all the measures, and they saved this museum anti-looting, anti-any damage. Until now, it was beautiful cooperation, how local community can play a good role to protect the cultural heritage in Syria during the war. For the synagogue, lastly, for the synagogue, Jewish synagogue, this synagogue, when we lost all the hope that no area became unsafe. In the National Museum, we have a synagogue, unique synagogue Jewish, very beautiful, transported in 1932, something like. It is dated to 244 AD, discovered in 1930 in Dura Oropos. This area, like this, or the painting of synagogue in Damascus museum, I afraid from the extremism attack National Museum to destroy this synagogue. After destruction of Jobar area, beside of Damascus, we have Jobar area. We have already a beautiful synagogue destroyed, attacked. How I can protect this unique synagogue in National Museum of Damascus? We realized many measures of protection for this building in National Museum, because it was necessary as our part of culture, because finally Syria, it's not the just Muslim, Christian, Jewish, paganism, all things, it's our cultural heritage. I will continue very quickly to finish my presentation. The roof of Jewish temple in National Museum of Damascus is very beautiful, very unique temple exists. All measure during this war, what I discussed in my presentation, we reinforced the entry doors and protected all this object, and sometime we hadn't a lot of the money, but we tried to make all things like this. It is worth noting that another synagogue located in the Jobar, it is destroyed totality. It was necessary to change all the door, to make to reinforce all the entries, windows around of the national museums, anti any explosive car to attack the National Museum of Damascus. A lot of the measure we took in this period to protect collaboration with another the police, custom, and Syrian national Interpol to stop a lot of trafficking. We received thousands objects. We launched a lot of the workshop in cooperation with Syrian police and other, how we can protect our cultural heritage by professional, scientific way without any implication in the politics. We tried to convince all the parties to be scientific in this area. We received, we stopped hundreds, thousands objects before to be stolen and looted and to go outside of the Syria from Palminian, like example. We stopped this object in Market Black in London and New York and Paris, Brussels, Switzerland, etc. Like this in Bonhams, we stopped this object in cooperation with Interpol and UNESCO. And also this kind of object, this object was stopped in Brussels and Belgium. Some object like this stopped in Switzerland. Confiscation of fake in period 2016. I remember something like this. The fabrication of fake object became a huge number of Bible, etc., and magic lever books, etc. We stopped a lot, and a lot also went outside of the Syria. How they make object before, after faking, how they fake the object. International cooperation, we engaged in beautiful cooperation with all the organizations in the world, UNESCO, ICOMOS, ICOM, and scientific institute, universities, etc. And we open it through the media, all the journalists. We respect the arrival of all the journalists from the United States, from Europe, from Japan, in my office. We try to present all the information to be honest by our presentation of all the and to share our sad situation, because we declare it that we are like the man, he is sick, but we need good medicine. Our medicine was international community. How we can convince international to help us, and the condition was to be honest, not politic men, not hide information, not to publish fake information. To be honest, to be frank with all the international community. It was our way, our method of work to work through this hard period. Finally, the Director General of the Antiquity and Museum keep it the scientific approach between 2012 and 2017 during my tenure as Director General of the Antiquity. During this period, I volunteered at the university because I was professor. But for me, just to be Director General for the 5 years and to present action plan and without any compensation, financial, etc. And we rejected we rejected the politicization of our cultural heritage and maintained that the Syrian heritage cannot be divided between the government and the opposition. Instead, it is shared heritage that unites everyone and represents the historical identity of all Syria, regardless of difference. If you are anti-government, anti-Bashar al-Assad, it's your rights. It's not my work. My work, how I can work with you. Please, the politics is one thing, politics change, but now we are in another battle. Protection of the cultural heritage, it is outside of the politics. It's something over. Please respect our cultural heritage defending and to be our partner. We asked all the party, despite that this rate to our sometime, it was not easy as Director General to stay no political man. Sometimes we are attacked our life, it was under risk, but we insisted to continue our battle as professional and scientific to make what it was possible to save our cultural heritage. Finally, it's not Syrian heritage, but also it's universal heritage. Thank you very much. I try to explain what I can do through my English, because you know it's my fourth language. My first language is Kurdish. I am Kurdish Armenian, and my second is Arabic, third French, fourth English. I hope that my presentation was clear for you. Thank you very much. Excuse me if I was something long in my presentation.
Maamoun, I have no words to express what you did in these difficult times in a rescue, a salvage archaeology, and to document over 40,000 artifacts to save them. Just as a, let's say, to give some snippets where I'm coming from. And well, for one, maybe we start with 2013. I was in Antakya, and of course there were rumors. I was just on the other side of the border. There were rumors, and of course there were documentaries in German television too, that the looting is going on, and these are established routes by criminals. It has nothing to do necessarily with the opposition or with all those groups involved. The mafia is coming very quickly, and I think, Maamoun, your preparation working on Iraq after 2001, I think possibly was also crucial for what you were able to do afterwards. And I would like to give another anecdote, and I think, and I hope this brings some of the relevance home when you realize that the Baghdad Museum was looted after, it was completely destroyed, and it was looted. And to give you just one idea, and of course 2014 was it, that the Mosul, the cultural heritage of Mosul was destroyed, the tomb of Yonah and other very important mosques. But the other very delicate thing is, and one of my colleagues in Yale University worked on that, Hobby Lobby acquired a cuneiform of the Enuma Elish on illegal ways. And just to give you some sense, maybe some artifacts are also somewhere else. This is incredible when bringing this home, quote unquote, to the US, where people are dealing and buying looted goods in order to do whatever they want. And so, Maamoun, for what you did, it is unbelievable in my understanding. The significance of how you organized the rescue, you documented this in last minutes. And I do give another anecdote, and then I will open this to the floor, because I think there are many questions. And that is my sense. I think the May 18th that you just indicated, we were editing a volume. We had a specialist on Palmyra. We were looking for the news every hour as ISIS was approaching Palmyra. And we literally saw it falling while we discussed papers on that topic. So the significance of Palmyra cannot be underestimated. And I think you also gave some of the significance. I do want to kind of stop here and open the floor for questions and discussions. And maybe, Holger, you can help me with figuring out who are the, if in the comments are questions, or even from the audience. If you are from the audience, please come forward and ask or comment or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I have a question. Is there any estimate of how many of the lost artifacts have been destroyed and how many have been brought to other countries?
How many objects from museums or for cultural heritage sites?
No, I wonder how many of the artifacts have been destroyed compared to brought to other countries to be sold to collectors.
If I understand your questions, in comparison with Iraq example, what happened now in Sudan, now what happened in other countries, for the collections in Syrian museums, I am happy. In general, more 95% of objects already saved. I give you this confirmation for the museum's collections. But for the cultural heritage sites, unfortunately, many thousands, hundreds, thousands of objects stolen, looted from the cultural heritage site. You know, Syria have two things. We have 34 museums, and we have also about 10,000 sites. If we can, if it was possible to save the collection in the museums, but how we can save all the sites? In cooperation with the local community, it was possible to avoid from the looting and from the destruction. But tens, hundreds of the sites attacked. We are sure many 10,000 objects already it's outside of the Syria. In Turkey, in Lebanon, in Israel, in Jordan, in Iraq, in Europe, etc. We need the time. So many times we need to follow all these objects. But for the destruction of the collection in museums, we have some destruction in National Museum of Raqqa by ISIS. They destroy it. And in Museum of Idlib, some object also, maybe 6,000 objects looted. But already it is documented. We will follow all these objects. But the rest of all the museums in Syria, all things transported to Damascus and in safe places. Fortunately.
You spoke of the need to work collaboratively with all sides to get the protection of objects and to enlist the help of local people to protect objects. That sounds like a horrific task, like a very, very difficult task. And I wondered if you could share more about how you proceeded to try to stay in a neutral position when your lives were in danger, probably from everybody.
Madam, the action plan, through our work, we leave it for our personal life. Of course, we leave it under risk. A lot of the time I asked myself how I will be killed. Because many friends killed through this period in front of our eyes in Damascus and another sites, etc. The life, it was under risk, but it was impossible to leave the job because we engaged ourselves in this protection. It was necessary to continue this battle. We tried all time to the cooperation with local community. It was not easy in festival in beginning. We tried to convince all the people. The cooperation outside of the Syria, that was easy. We tried to convince all the international institution, organization that we are professional. Because a lot of the objects went outside of the Syria. It was necessary to try to convince all parties inside of the Syria, outside of the Syria, how we can make the cooperation. Really, I was lucky because quickly international community accepted my missions, accepted my job as professional scientific, because I received a lot of the support by all the cultural institutions in the world. It was in this period when I received this support by media, by international institutions, UNESCO, ICOMOS, ICOM, Interpol, Custom, International Custom, big universities in the world. And inside of the Syria, all parties accepted. They said, professor, he is professional. He is not political man. In this period, really, we lost and we forget our life. We see it, we depend on the God. Our life, it is God decisions. It's not decision of any person. We will continue. It was not easy, madam. If you ask me, do you think if we repeat this experience in another country, I will be reserves because it's not easy. I don't like for any person to live my life because it was very sad. In front of my house, I followed all the clashes, all the risk unto my children's. It was any times we said, tomorrow it's our last. Today it is our last day in our life. But sometimes we say it's shame to leave Syria in this period. To shame, we should to stay. We accepted all the pressure in the both sides. Despite we worked in the government, but we had a lot of the risk. Sometimes some party extreme in the government don't accept it. Why you say you are not engaged in the politics? Why you are not? Sometimes in Arabic we say you are grais, klar. You are not clear. You are anti or poor. I said I am for heritage. My vocation, it is not politics. I am not in the Ministry of the Information to make propaganda. I am in the cultural heritage position. My work, it is identity. I cannot refuse the identity of my colleagues in opposition. Already, madam, to be honest, already I am from Kurdish family. We are already from opposition. We are already by generation, we are in opposition, but not my work to make the position or loyalism in this work. This work should to continue in a scientific way to give hope and more experience for that generation. How, and for another countries, how you can save your heritage. You can save when you are professional scientific. Madam, sometimes I try to forget all this experience because it is very sad.
Another question?
I apologize in advance if this is a very deep, hard question to answer, but from past, discussion that you were mentioning how most of your focus has been on the conflicts with ISIS and terrorist organizations and the mafia and criminal groups that you're trying to preserve these artifacts from. I was wondering with the current state, when you have a situation where you have, like you said, you've been able to preserve a lot of stuff from having an international community in your support. What difficulty has really arisen from the last month or so of having not only terrorist organizations doing this to you, but having to do with full states like Israel and the current crisis that we're seeing right now, and the lack of media attention to all of that you had in the past. How has that made things different for you?
Excuse me, if I understood your question about the situation, of course, media international helped us, and for the situation, of course, if you ask about the position of Israel in this situation in our period, really no contact between us, the situation between Israel and Syria, etc. But through all things, keep this cooperation by all the international. Many Israeli journalists contact me through another nationality. Never we asked them if you are Israeli or if you are from the United States or England, Europe, etc. But if I understood your questions, the media played good role in general. We are attacked by terrorism, by extreme groups, but also inside of the Syria, between the government and opposition clashes, it was a hard situation we live it. It was not easy for us also to ask the government, don't attack, don't use your plane, military plane. It was challenge for us. We live it in challenge by all the kind of the ways. If I understood your question, it was not for clear for me, please.
Oh, sorry. Yes. You're just talking about how you had to act in many of these fast and secretly ways, using organization and such for your preservation. And I just wonder how difficult or what ways you guys have had to adapt in the last few months, or how groups have had to, with these massive militant, escalations that are a little bit different than past experiences with ISIS. And I was just wondering how that works for you guys all, because I know I can imagine that would be very difficult.
No, we live with a lot of difficulties in our jobs, and until now, to be honest, until now the situation not stop it. To be clear for you, about looters or the looters, the situation with Israel now, with Turkey, and inside ISIS until now, don't stop it. We have all times the situation was difficult, will continue until now. I am not in job since 8 years ago, but the situation never stopped it. Of course, we rescued all the collection in all the museums now in Damascus, but hundreds sites and the risk until now by war from outside Syria. Until now, ISIS don't finish it. The issue of ISIS state until now, a lot of attacking by people, etc. The situation difficult, but one of the most difficult for me, I leave it through my position in international level. It was because we are public institution. We are from the government. The government was under embargo. It was not easy to convince international community. Fortunately, quickly, after 6 months, 1 year, international community accepted my mission. But a lot of the time, they asked me, Maamoun, we accept you personally, not your government, through your position as Director General, as Professor. We contact you. A lot of the government in the West accepted, received me, hosted me, all times contacted me, but all times they said, Maamoun, we cannot communicate with your government. The geopolitical until now is difficult for the Syrian heritage. We need a lot of cooperation. This embargo exists until now, no cooperation. A lot of the sites in Syria needs the rehabilitation, the help, no help until now. How we can go for the best future? How many time we can wait? It's the questions. How many time my colleagues can stay? My colleagues in difficult economical situation live now. Actually, how many times they can resist all these challenge until now exist, unfortunately, around of the Syria, around all the risk by all the extremism, by cooperation with international community. How many times we need a lot of the times to rehabilitate the situation.
That's beautiful that you guys still, throughout all of that, still work on that shared goal. I guess I have one last follow-up question on that topic, if possible. I want to ask, in the past, when you guys have been doing this since, the early 2000s with ISIS and stuff, how much assistance did you have from even the Syrian government in doing these preservation tactics, and how has that changed in the last, within the new government that has taken over? Because from what I know, Hayat Sham has done nothing to fight back against Israel in the current conflict in Damascus, so I wonder how that changes things with not even having a military fight against these groups like they used to do with ISIS and such.
Really, what I can say, the situation, what you ask me, how they will change by new government. What you ask me, please, about the new government?
Oh, I'm just saying how, with some of the connections with the new government, how has preservation had to adapt or change?
Really, now for the changement of the government before and now, for us, don't change it because my colleagues, they are the same. My colleagues who worked with me under last former government, they are the same person are working now. For us, all time we say it, the changement of government not very important for us because we are as professional working in directorates of antiquities and museums. The same groups are working with me until now. They are here. They are in directorates of antiquities and museums. But maybe the changement of government in Syria, they changed some idea. They opened some gates with West in general. Maybe they will help Syria despite all the difficulties. I think because the connection with the last former government was closed totally. Now, maybe new opportunity open it with our colleagues. Maybe some ambassador come to Syria, some official from Europe, etc., United States come to Syria officially. They will help the mission of our colleague in this hard situation. But the mission, I am sure, the rehabilitation of the Syrian cultural heritage in the future, really we have a lot of challenge, a lot of the money we need, a lot of the times, a lot of the preparing we need. It's not easy job. Unfortunately, today it is not just cultural heritage Syrian under risk. We have Libya, we have until now Iraq, we have Yemen, we have Gaza, we have also Lebanon, we have also Sudan under risk, very because I worked with UNESCO in Sudan at after my job in Director James Antiquity and Museum in Syria. In 2019, I went to Sudan also. I presented action plan for National Museum of Sudan. Unfortunately, National Museum of Sudan also attacked. We have a lot of challenge, we have a lot of risk through international communication, through the West, etc. We have a lot of the problem, really.
No, thank you so much. It's good to know that you guys are willing to adapt as much as you need for that common goal. So thank you.
Thank you for your questions.
We also have other participants on Zoom, and I see in the Zoom chat that Mohammed Abad made 2 comments. Would you like to unmute yourself and make a brief statement or question? Well, he is not unmuting his microphone, so maybe I can read what he put into the chat. He says, I would like to thank you, Dr. Maamoun, for this important lecture and appreciate your courage in engaging with the local community in opposition areas which may have exposed you to problems with the security.
I thank you very much, dear Mohammed Awad, for your thanks, for your support. And I totally agree with you how we can finish this sanction on the Syria, because through this sanction, if we assist the final to finish this sanction, through this condition, I am sure that a lot of the archaeologists, specialists come to Syria to share experience with us. We can support the Director General of Antiquity and Museum in for all the effort because we need a lot of support, help. After 14 years ago, Syrian Director General of Antiquity and Museum stayed in embargo. It's time to help our colleagues now who are working, who are now preparing new action plan, who are preparing now in Syria and Damascus, actually, how we can save what we can save, because each winter come, new destruction come more on the Aleppo cities, etc., etc. I think through the former regime, it was many thousand buildings attacked, destroyed. Today, it is time some part of this destruction heritage can be saved through the rehabilitation. What we did with Aga Khan Foundation for the Trust in last times, we need today all our colleagues come back to Syria to share experience with our Syrian colleagues in DJM. Maybe we can assist new future, new projects, new phase of rehabilitation of the cultural heritage inside, because until now Palmyra lived for nothing. Palmyra, Aleppo, not significant project happened in Aleppo, in Homs also, etc., etc. We have some small initiative, personal initiative, private initiative, but we need international. We need engagement of the UNESCO, and big countries participated and help Syrians colleagues today. It's time because regime collapse. It's finished. The reason of embargo is finished. Now we need to make the cooperation with Syrian colleagues to save what we can save in near times, next times, because really international community should to keep these colleagues in city. We have good staff actually in Damascus, hundreds of architects, hundreds of archaeologists are working in Director General of Antiquity and Museums, but they need the help. It's time to help them. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Awad.
Thank you. Someone else raised a hand on Zoom. Can you please unmute yourself and go ahead?
Hello, my name is Zabia. I'm a Syrian archaeologist, and now I'm a researcher in the archaeology of climate change, a PhD student at Universidade Nova de Lisboa in Lisbon, Portugal. First of all, I want to thank Professor Maamoun for all the work, for all the efforts they've done during the past years. I don't have a question, just want to add a few points. That first, as a human being and as a Syrian citizen and as an archaeologist, I really want to convey my gratitude to everyone who worked. And I know that there are a lot of people who lost their lives trying to save these sites and trying to save our cultural heritage. And clearly we have to mention, for example, Khalid al-Assad, the 83 years old archaeologist who lost his life in Palmyra. I want to thank everyone who worked in the conflict zones, and I want to add a few points regarding the situation now in Syria. Since December, and we were really optimistic about the process that the cultural heritage will be getting more concerned, and to be that we will have the support to help as professionals outside of our country, and to support those who are inside the country. Now I'm in contact with many professionals inside and outside Syria, and I think it's really hard, as Professor Maamoun mentioned before, that it's really hard to get to be independent and to be objective and not to follow any party, because you have to be really careful and diplomatic in choosing what side you have to follow. But for me, I as an archaeologist, I would say that if somebody can really change and make this changing in the system itself, I would say that we really need impartial committee to observe the process for preserving the cultural heritage in Syria, including professionals of Syrian and international organization and parties. And it should be independent because it's really hard not to be engaged in the political process. But me personally, I would say that, for example, the devices for detecting materials like metals are openly sold in Syria. So it's really dangerous because people with all the crises that they've been through, they really don't they cannot sacrifice more about the economy situation, so on. So many people are getting, controlled in somehow to be engaged with the looting process. So what I was trying to do as a volunteer is to contact some cities and the civil society in some cities to have initiatives. And many really, I would like to say that our society, we have a big part of our society that they can be collaborating with us. But as I said, unfortunately, there are some things that is bigger than us as individuals. So I would like to really emphasize on this point that if there can be some international committee that is impartial and to be observing the process in preserving the cultural heritage of Syria. And I want to, if I'm not mistaken, Professor Maamoun, if you, I think you missed the part about the documentation on I think I remember that the archaeological map also documenting the sites. So that was a really important project and a point I wanted to mention also. Thank you so much for the time you gave me to talk, and thank you for this presentation.
Thank you, Zabia. I agree with you about the documentation, mapping, etc. We hardly work it a lot because I tried to give you some image of our work. It was not easy through this time to give you all things, but really we worked a lot. Thank you for the Ayman Nabo, Mr. Ayman Nabo also, and his team in Idlib Center. Through the hard period, they worked in the Idlib Antiquities Center. They worked in opposition area. In hard period, it was not easy. They tried to save a lot of the object. He mentioned it in his post that they save some sculpture from Palmyra, but I am sure they worked a lot of work also, effort also in Idlib, and they saved what can possible for the collection in National Museum of Idlib, despite the dangerous situation. I am all time proud for all my colleagues in all area under control of the Kurdish Arabic coalition in east of the Syria, in Idlib area, in south of the Syria, Basra, they did excellent work, despite the city was outside of the Syrian control. But we keep the good relation between us and between them. This unification of all the colleagues in all the Syria, it was model of the Syria for the future of the Syria. How archaeologists kept all control together. Sometimes it was not easy to contact directly. I remember one time I am stopped by Syrian police because I contacted all time by my colleagues in Idlib area. It was not easy, but we tried. We tried to make the best. I am proud of all these colleagues who worked inside of the government control and outside of the Syrian government. We stay at all time as friends, colleagues for the future Syria. Today, we are trying to make, to give the message for the future generation, how we work together.
Thank you, Maamoun. I think you can't see it, but I can feel it, how we are all moved by what you did. And I do want to say that we are so honored to have you here speaking to us and articulating this. And I think you emphasized once more the importance of professional ethics, and that we possibly can even stay out of politics, but at the same time do something that is really relevant. And in this regard, it is possibly political too, because you made a statement on how to unify Syria and how to rescue the Syrian heritage. I do want to thank all who attended and all who are here in the room. Thank you for your interest and for your time. We are a little bit over, and this was a bit chaotic. But I do want to say that we have recorded this. We would like to kind of post this. You all registered. I would like to kind of reach out to you, to all of those who registered. And yeah, maybe we can also not just reflect on the past, but also maybe move forward. And whatever collaboration or whatever ideas may come from here, would be very grateful. So thank you, Maamoun. I think it's right now 5 o'clock in the morning for you. So thank you that without anything said, yeah, would be fine. And so we are extremely thank you for you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It was for me the great honor, dear Dr. Jane. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And maybe we talk later. Bye-bye.